Afternoon, everybody. How's things? It's a bit quieter here actually because I'm working from home today rather than at the office, where I know Leslie, Sarah and John are busily working to get orders out and get everything ready for class tomorrow. So super exciting and yeah, lovely to be with you all, just to have a little bit of a time to chill out a bit. So something we've not done in a while, and that's a black tile. So I thought we'd have a go at doing that. And you can see, of course, I've got a white gel pen to do all my text with, or my drawing with. There it is. I've got my white chalky pencil as well, although you can use pastels or whatever other coloured pencils that you may have. I know that some of the Sanntangle pencils work really nicely on black as well. I've got my rubber, I've got a nice clean tortillon, I've got a pencil. Oh, I did have a pencil. You know what happens when you tidy up and you've got a nice clean desk and then you can't find anything? I've got a pencil. And I've got one of my gel pens as well. So there we go, one of my coloured gel. Maybe I'll get a bit of colour in here. Maybe not. Don't know. So if we're all ready to go, let's make a start. Do you know what? I hope you don't mind that you've had four 4 days of Sanntangle live this week. So it's been quite busy. Well, I'm sure you don't mind, or you could always mute me. It's fine. So what are we doing first then? I'm coming in with my pencil and I'm going to start in one of the corners. Doesn't matter which, because of course we can sort it and turn it all out. And here we go. No borders today. I'm not worried about that. I'm going straight in with a pencil. So here we go. What I want to do is I want to draw a curve. So let's put one in. So imagine it's about, I don't know, 1.5 centimetres, 2 centimetres ish. If you need to put marks, you can use a straight edge as well to draw, but you're not going to see these lines when we've finished. Okay, so that's our first one there. So whilst I've done the first, I'm going to do the largest. I'm going to come down a little bit there, maybe again about 1 centimetre, same there, and then aim for it. Sometimes it helps if you hold your pencil further out, because then you can get the arc, and when you're happy with that, there you go, you can draw it onto the cardstock there. There we go. So I've got the smallest and I've got the largest. So let's put a few in the middle. So let's have another look. I want maybe, I don't know, let's have 3 spaces. So let's even that out into 3. And then let's even this out into 3. And again, see, I'm not holding it here. I'm holding it further back, because then, you see what I'm doing? I'm sort of creating that curve. So it's sort of from like a long arm point of view. Okay. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So this one here, I'm going to put a thinner line in there as well. Okay. So I've got 1, 2, 3, a thin, and then 4 space there. So let's hold it now. I'm going to come from this direction and I want to put in a diagonal. You can always bring in your straight edge to do that. I just wanted a bit of an angle there. And then this, let's split it into 4 that way. And then, see, half, and half again there. So I've got spaces that way as well. Again, I'm just loosely doing this because you're not going to see these, hopefully, when we've finished. I'll hold it up to the camera in a moment so you can see it a little bit clearer, because with it being a black tile, it's not as clear straight off. Here we go. So there we are. That's better, see? So I've got 1, 2, 3, that little one, and then 4 there. And then this way, I did the diagonal through the middle there. And then I've split this side in half, and each one in half again. And then this one in half, and then in half again. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 spaces in there. Okay. So let's dive in with the pen and make a start. So let's do this little one here first, just to get us going and into this. Of course, if you're on a different colour tile, then you're going to do exactly what I do, but you're going to use your black pen. So Okay, let's start. I'm not going to start on the edge. I'm going to start sort of in the middle here. And what I want to do is I'm going to go across 2. So there's my middle. I'm going to go across 2. Let's get my pen going. And put in a little loop. Okay, bearing in mind that my gel pen takes a little while to get going and it's a bit thicker than a normal fine line. So either side I'm going to draw a loop, but I don't want them to touch. So I'm going to come quite close, but not touching, not even touching the edge of the tile there. And then the same this way. So round, using those lines as a guide, but they're not going to touch. All right. So inside each one, I'm going to do a little aura. Now again, if you can't fit one, if yours is quite small, not to worry at all, it's fine. I'm going to put those little auras in so we've got that. All right. So let's have a look. Next little bit then. I'm going to come and start at the top. So this little bit here. And let's start, see, just so I've done that, let's just go out a little bit, there you go. This space here, this space we've not done anything with, it's this space here. So again, doesn't matter where we start actually, but I'll start in the middle and I'll work my way around. Okay, so from about here, and I'm going to put in a little bump, sort of in the middle of that space there. And then join the bottom again. And they're the same in each space. They don't have to be exactly the same. Don't worry about that if they're different. It's entirely up to you there. But put them in about in the middle. Okay. So along we go, putting those little lines in. So we've got that shape going on. Okay, so we've got that bottom bit and then we've got this top bit here. What I want to do now is I'm going to bring a loop from the middle there out to join that line at the top. Now, of course, if you're using a gel pen, you're going to take your time with it because, as we know, we've got to sort of give the ink a chance to keep up with us. So, you know, if you find that you are doing it a little bit too fast and you need to slow down, then the gel pen is the way to go because it makes you go slow. Oh, it seems like you're receiving your locket lanes. That's good news. I'm looking forward to see what you're going to do with it. It's a fabulous piece and we've spent a lot of time this week getting all your packages out, so glad they're coming out now. Okay, let's have a little look at that. Got a sort of army of little loops. Now again, what I want to do here is I don't want them to join together. So looking at each little shape there, each little box, just to help me out, I'm going to draw just a narrow line there and a narrow line there. Okay, because then if I come in, I'm going to work to that line, drawing little loops all the way around, filling that space in, and the same on this side. But you see, because I've got that line to work to, I've got a little bit of structure there. So if you need to, you can come in and put your pencil lines in all of the other spaces. It only needs to be sort of quite a narrow little gap there. So there's that line, a little bit there, and there. Oh, a bit wide. It just gives you a little bit of something to aim to, doesn't it? So let's bring those loops in. So again, we're working towards that inner space. We don't want them to touch. All right, a bit of social distancing going on here. And following it round. Every one now we're going to do the same thing in, creating those little spaces, little shapes. And they start to flow after a little while. You can see that's where my pen was a little bit too quick and the ink didn't quite catch up with it. And around. And again. So I'm sort of on average, and I'm getting 3 loops either side. See, even on the edge, I've not gone off the edge. And the next one. And along we go. And into that one. So it's just working our way around. I'm sort of counting 3s now as well. So, in we go. There we are. Okay, so we've got that and that going on. So far, so good. So let's have a look at this little section in between then, this thin one. I'm going to come in and put a little bubble in the middle there. And I'm going to do that in every space. Just going around a couple of times, it just redefines it a bit. You don't have to, but if you find that your bubbles aren't very bubble-like or are not quite round, then it's a great one to do. And then either side, let's do it downwards. I'm going to put these little leafy shapes. You can see, quite small. But again, don't want them to touch. I want them to be all standalone. Oh, so it's a black tile. Not done a black in ages. But please feel free to use whatever colour you like. We are having a little bit of a change to our tiles. We've got some different things coming. We're looking at what we are actually going to keep and what we're not going to keep. Pat, I do know what you mean about white pens. It's they can be a little bit hit and miss, can't they? It is one of those things, I know. But we're all on the lookout for a good one. Some use ink pens, which are quite nice as well. I do like using those, but I know not everybody's got that kind of thing. So I'm trying to use something that's relatively simple to get hold of, being that I don't do one. And a little bit easier for you to be able to say, keep up and follow along with me, see. So, okay. Now again, what I'm going to do here in each one of these sections is I'm doing a little aura, but I'm curving the top. And again, I don't want them to touch. I think with a white gel pen, I think you've got to use it for a bit. Sometimes they can feel a bit scratchy when they're new, and you've just got to get it going. And once it flows, they're usually fine. And again, if you find that your ink, you're not getting like a whiteness, then you're going a little bit too quick with it. So you've got to sort of slow the process down a little bit and give it a chance to flow. And that happens with a lot of gel pens. It's a bit hit and miss with it, but we get the results we want in the end, because we're going to use our white chalk pencil and things. So. Okay. And then that one again, you see I'm not going to the edge of the tile, so I'm not getting off. I've got each shape's an individual. So I'm going to put a grid inside each of these. So I'm going to start by going all one way, slightly going to turn my tile as I go. So it changes angle ever so slightly. And remember, with a gel pen, it might smudge because it takes a little bit longer to dry. Okay, so let's work this way as well. So just putting those lines in, and then into the next one. It sort of creates that little sense of movement in there. And then what I tend to do drawing grids, once I've got the first lines in, I actually like to have those lines so they're horizontal towards me kind of thing, and then I find it easier to draw the sort of vertical lines, making my way down like that. And then this one, oh, see, that's not so vertical. So I just find the lines a little bit easy to draw coming down towards me. You might have a little bit of a different way, but that's fine, whatever works for you. Okay, so we've got that. So far so good. Okay, so in these little gaps here, might as well come in, and I'm going to put a little aura in. Again, don't want them touching. Giving that a little bit of a shape in there. Let's put a little line in if you can get one in there. Okay, so let's have a look. What I want to do, so this one, I want to do some bubbles. So again, I'm going to start with one in the middle there. See, just above again, I've got a gap. Let's do those first. So not touching. It's quite tricky, isn't it, to have them not touching? I think that's been the little, not the rule, but okay. And let's do one either side, like so. One either side. So they are touching, but the three are not touching each other. Okay. And the next ones. So repeating that thing all the way down as we go. Okay. So next one, we've got quite a long shape now. So when I say I want to fill it, let's start with putting a curve in like this. And I'm going to do that one in each one. So again, however you feel comfortable drawing it. If you wanted to do it the other way, you can. But I'm drawing a similar line each time, and I'm turning my tile so I'm getting that shape. You see? And then create my sort of straighter line going in. So again, I'm using the pencil lines as a guide there. I'm not actually drawing on the pencil, but I'm just using that to help me create those lines. And then just join the bottom to each other. Okay. Each one. Two. So the next one. Looking at the shape I've got now, I'm going to create another, like an aura coming from there. See, following that curve, and then up. So I'm still in those little sections, not coming out of them, just creating that curve. And sort of keep it going. So each gap has got that line in. So again, let's do the straight line. Well, straight-ish anyway. You know, following the pencil lines. But again, you can see there, look, I'm not actually on the pencil line. I'm just sort of going to the side of it. And then, of course, it's touching the top here. because then going round, joining those lines. Again, nothing's touching. We've got every shape sort of standalone here. Let's have a little look at this. All right. So looking at this then, I'm going to bring in, imagine I've got 2 loops inside here, so along we go. I'm just going to fill in that little bit there. So you could come up the middle, do either way. Okay, you could do it this way. So again, I'm going up the middle, look. See what works best for you, what you're more comfortable with, what gives you a better curve shape. See, I'm going to follow this one out. That goes there, look. See, that works quite well. Fill those little gaps in. And again, curve, and in. You see there where it's gone twice? That's okay, go back and fill that bit in. And again. Oh, you see my lines now, it's decided it wants to split, you see? So just a bit of scrap and just clean, just sort of clean the nib off. And let's give that another go. Sometimes it just gets a little bit clogged. But see, you can tell it's wanting a break. You're not getting one, I've not finished. And there we are. It gives me that. Let's have a little look at that. You see that line now? Let's come back in. Sort that. Okay, so there we go. So far so good. So looking at the loops that we've got here, I want to do a little line in there, a little dot, line and a dot. So each one, a line and a dot. Sort of following it round. So turn it round. Do my lines first, look, and then dots. My lines. So I suppose if you've done this with a black ink and a lighter tile, it's going to look a little bit different than what it is now. You're going to have a similar thing, but of course a different. So this is an 08. I do have 05s, but I find that 08s flow better personally, and whether it was my problem with my pen, but I've got a few 05s, and we do try them now and again. I think we've had a few out in class before just to see, but I always go back to an 8. I don't think the nib's that thick, honestly. It's a bit thicker than a fine line, yeah, of course, but I don't think it's seriously thicker. Okay, I'm creating a bit of an aura around my shape now. Just kind of filling it in. Again, it's not touching, but then again, the auras don't touch, do they, usually? Oh, Louise, yeah, this would be nice, actually, doing. You could do 2 together or 4. It looks quite nice. It's a great one if you fancy stitching it as well, actually. It would look nice. Maybe stitching it on that, you know, that, oh, what's that material called that then washes away? You're just left with lace. That would be nice. But again, you see, I'm not touching the edge. I've left it there. Okay, so that's our first little bit. So I want to just sort of come to this side now. And this time, I'm not going to do any sort of guidelines as such. I've still got my pencil here just to give me an idea of where my centery bit is. So what I'm going to do is create a loop. There we go. And then again, I'm going to do an aura inside. So sort of mirroring what we did at that corner there, in a sense. Oh, I really need to try it. I bet it looked lovely. create your own lace tile. Okay, so this time look, I've not gone to the point, I've just drawn one in that corner there. And then do one here. And a little aura in there. So I think now let's just do a check, yeah, that my pencil is dry enough. And I want to just ever so gently come in and remove any of those lines. So just make sure, even if you're using your black pens, that your ink's completely dry before removing those pencil lines. Okay. So back to this one. It's looking lovely, isn't it? I haven't got my coloured pastels actually. That'd be nice, different colours. Parchment definitely soon. Oh, Bev, that sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? Crochet is something I've not really done. Well, not really done any of actually. It's something I've never learnt to do. I think I did mention to somebody before I'd like to do it, and they went, "Oh, you're left-handed." I'm like, yeah, I know, but does that matter? Okay, little auras, then a little dot at the side. And then a little bubble at the top of each. And then one either side. Oh, want a bit of rye, so when it dries I can put a bit of black in. And then working around here, I'm just going to put in a curve. Yeah, Ria, I think somebody just didn't want to show me at the time. I think that was what it was. They were like, no, not going to teach you how to do that. Oh, Bev, now, come on. That's a bit of a letdown now. First it was a blanket quilt. Now it's a cushion. Oh, okay. Going to put another aura in. Just take my time with it, look. I'm just sort of almost pushing that pen along. Just in little strokes. There we go. And then I'm going to put a little bit of a wavy aura on top of it there. And then put some bubbles in those little gaps. See, just sort of picking where you've got a few indents that will work with a bubble. Okay, you see? Oh, thanks, but I think whoever I asked, I don't think they wanted me to do it. I think they're like, no, I'm not teaching you. So it was an excuse. That's all it was. I suppose if I really wanted to, I could watch YouTube, couldn't I? And have a go. But I'm just a little bit busy at the minute. Not that that's an excuse. But I have got quite a backlog of quilts that I want to make, and new stencil ideas and some applique ideas. So next week, is it next Saturday, a week tomorrow, I'm on Sewing Street. So I'm actually taking a Sewing Street version of Locket Lane. So if you're into your sewing and you love Locket Lane, then I've done a Sewing Street version. And then it's a bank holiday, isn't it? On the Monday, I'm on Hobby Maker Monday. There we go. So some little bubbles kicking off there as well. I think I'll bring my gel pen in a little bit, but what I want to do now is come in with my white pencil. You can use a pastel pencil or whatever you want to do. Or if you're using a black pen on a lighter tile, then of course using your regular pencil will work just fine. Okay. Oh, Sue, it would, wouldn't it? It would. Okay, so let's make a start. Let's go from this bottom edge. And I'm going to add some in that gap there. Just work my way up and over. Now, don't be you don't have to press on as such with the pencil, but don't be shy putting some on. You need to get some on. If it's a bit scratchy, you know, just take that top edge off, because you see, look, it's chalk. So it's always ways. If you feel it's a bit, I say a bit scratchy, just do that. See, now that's going on a lot better. A lot better. Over the top of that. Okay. So then coming to this one, I'm not going to do anything with the bubbles. I'm going to come around here. There we go. Oh, Maureen, I know it sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? I've really got a good one for that day. I'm really excited to show you that one. There we go. Let's have a little look at where I'm at then. So I've got a pencil, see, sort of in this bit here, here, and these two, and this one. So I also want to put some at the top of those sort of 3 loops there. So we've got something that resembles. Okay. You see, after taking that little top edge off that pencil, it's working so much better. Look at that. It's not resisting, it's not arguing with me. Okay. So again, I'm going to follow that aura. Do it in swirls. It's easy to fill in the crevices in swirls. Just want to, again, not be too shy with it. Just make sure that you've got those corners in. Sort of working your way around. Not keeping it too close either. I'm letting it flow a little bit, letting it move outwards. Okay. And then let's put a little highlight in some of these bigger bubbles. Okay. And then here, let's go with, I am. I'm going to put some around that bit there. Covering those bubbles up. And then let's go on the inside of that line. And then a little bit at the bottom of those. There you go. So there's quite a bit on there, isn't there? And you'll notice, look, that's why I've got a new clean tortillon out, because what I want to do now, might as well start here, being that I'm here, is if I was to use an older tortillon with some graphite on, it would go a little bit grey, and I want to try and keep the white if I can. If you've got some white, you see like there, that's sort of gone over, just brush that off. Let's just bring that my white pen. There you go, that'll sort it out. I am going to bring my black pen in a minute. Black pen on a tile, and on a black tile, I know, but just bear with me. Okay, swirling this round. Just want to make sure that you know where it sort of touches that line, it's filled, and then this bit we can ease off into that area. Don't be tempted to blow just yet. I know it's easy to do. You think, oh, I'm just going to blow that away, but don't yet. We have to do that when we've done all of it. Because of course you might want to come in and do a little bit more, see? I don't particularly want a straight line there, so I'm just going to come in like zigzag it a bit, blend it out. Okay. Oh, Maureen, maybe we need to think about doing some sewing classes. We are going to do that. We've just got to sort out when. So, absolutely. I can give you some pointers for that. And getting your stitches a bit neater. Sometimes, though, you know, if you want them a little bit wild and arrayed, it gives it a nice feel as well, doesn't it? Makes it feel like it's alive. Plus, sewing's like tangling, isn't it? You've all got your own sort of variations and your own ways of doing it. And doesn't matter if the stitch is not quite the same as somebody else's, it's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to soften those sort of sharp edges off there if I can. There we are. Okay. Sam, it's always been a little bit tricky because we've got a really good camera system in the office and it's connecting it up to the computer. Once we've actually sort of figured that out, we'll be fine to go. It's just, honestly, and I know this is going to sound silly, it's actually having the time. We need probably a day that we can sit down and actually look at how we're going to do it and how we connect everything. Because I know sometimes people are into their IT and their social media and they know exactly what they're doing. But because we've got, we've got cameras already set up there, we want to connect them. I've still got problems trying to connect with things anyway after being hacked on Facebook last year. So I can't actually log into Facebook with any device except this one I'm on now, without my phone. Other than that, I can't get on. I'm still completely blocked out. It's crazy, I know. So we do need a real good day that we can do it. And maybe during the summer, because of course we don't do as many classes in the summer. So maybe we'll have time in that, or we can sort it ready for winter months. And there's still there's a download class available on Hobby Maker that I did at Christmas. So that one's still on there. There you go. Okay, now we can blow. Let's have a little look at that. So you see here, I've got this little line. Don't want that. So come in. I'm just going to remove that there. I want a nice sort of clean edge. Let's have a look. Okay, look at that. See, it changed a bit, hasn't it? So they're not on the website yet, only because we've only just finished packing everything for Hobby Maker, and of course it wouldn't be fair for me to put everything on the shop and then expect everybody to pack those as well. So as soon as I say now I know that everybody's packed theirs for the Hobby Maker ones, I can actually add it on. So it will go on this weekend. Okay, you notice I'm coming in with my black pen now, and I'm neatening up that area. You see where I'd got those shapes? And just over the top of these. Now, you're not going to see it particularly, but it is going to clean up any areas if you want it to around those shapes. So, see like here? Got a little mark. I can come in, look, and fill it in. Yeah. So that's a bit more. Just sort of neaten them up a bit. Okay. Oh, Sue, I will. Sorry. I know. There's only one of me, and I do my best. Okay. I've come in now because that chalk's been sort of flattened out and pushed and pulled around. It's going to allow me to go over with my pen. So I'm putting that line back in there, you see. And then likewise with this one, I'm going to come along and just make sure that I've got a crisp edge there along that side. Now again, if you've used a tile that's not black and you've not used a white pen, you can still do this. So it's just sort of going back in and redefining areas. So you still go over your regular pencil and do this. And then I'm not going to do everything. I don't think it needs everything doing, but we can take a few little bits and pieces. Oh, Rose, you could use anything. It would look nice with a dark green, But if you you know, you want the drama, then a black would work. But you could use any. You could use both if you wanted. Absolutely up to you. You see some of these bubbles as well. Let's bring them back. So I'm going to just pick in the first part where it's going into that white, almost like into the mist, isn't it? And we can just add that line into that part there. Along we go. Let's have a look at that. Okay, so you see how that suddenly brought that up a little bit? And we've got our bubbles now, just by putting that little bit of a line in there. It's just sort of helping it out. And then here where we went over all those bubbles, I'm going to come back in and just give them their blackness back. Going a bit, you can see that. So same with those. We just want them to sort of come to the foreground. Okay. And maybe just the edges there, just, you know, just neaten up those little bits just at the bottom there. So I'm just going to bring all my gel pens in, and in this sort of area where we've got bubbles, let's just add a few in there. Just going to come in with different sizes. So I'm not going to do loads and loads. I'm just adding that little pop of colour in there. Just a little bit of something. This is one of the matte colours, so it's not going to be a sort of a shiny in your face kind of thing. It's a little bit more subtle than that. Oh, do you know, actually my mum rung because she pinched my locket lane because she came up last week, and she did ring me in the week and she did say how much she was enjoying it. So my mum says she's enjoying it. Actually, that's quite something. So yeah. All right. So I think you've got a little bit of. Let's have a look. See a little bit of purple on there. So I'm going to come on in with, let's just add a little bit into those as well. Just brings the colour in a little bit. It's not really sort of serious in your face shiny. It's a matte gel pen, but I'll give you a bit of colour there. Okay. we won't run out soon. Please don't worry. Don't worry, I'll add them in. So, okay, there's our tile. And last thing to do is initials, of course. It's, where am I going to put it? I think I'm going to sort of put it down this area here. I mean, it can go anywhere around, can't it? You can put it in your work. You can put it at the side. Just going to put it in there. So, there we go. Tile for today. All done and sorted. So I look forward to seeing whether you're going to do this in different colours, or whether you're going to do two and have like a, you know, a double along, or whether you're going to do four. Entirely up to you. But of course, we're going to be at class all weekend. So Saturday, Sunday, if you're coming over there, looking forward to that. We're all ready for you. It's going to be great. We're going to have a good time. And I've got a couple of fab projects for you. Can't wait. And of course, anyway, it's not, have a lovely weekend. And if you're doing the Sanntangle, if you're having a look at the quilt, the flowery quilt, you do know now that you can actually go on to the Sanntangle. It's not a public group, but you do have to ask to join, but you can go in there. You don't need a code or anything. We just have to click on and say, yeah, you can join. So you'll be able to watch all the videos from the first quilt that we did. Even if you're not into quilting, if you've got set 1, set 2, set 3 mini stencils, then you'll be able to see how they are drawn. Although they're on fabric in there, you can still do it on paper, so they're really worth watching if you want to. So other than that, yeah, that'll be Sanntangle. We're going to do our next sort of live there Sunday at 7 o'clock, because of course I'm in classes. And then we're back to normal Tuesdays and Fridays for tiles next week. So in the meantime, have fun, everybody. Enjoy this one. And I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye.